Oh, my voice is going. It's so good to see you today. Happy Wednesday. Is it really Wednesday? I kind of have to ask. It's been a crazy whirlwind. I've had a lot going on, and I was at a really cool event this past weekend. And it kind of leads me to the topic for today. So, welcome to another edition of Networking Know How, where we help you network more stress free, like we do in our Down and Dirty Networking online community. And today, I'm taking a page out of what I just went through. I just got back from a 4-day event where I attended. And so, how do you leverage that with networking? First of all, the networking was fire at this event. It was really, really good. They know how to do it right, and so it's definitely a model worth following. But if you are an attendee, how do you choose a networking event that's going to benefit you the best? How do you choose that? So, where can you get your networking payoff? So, that's the topic. Choosing events with the best networking payoffs. That's what we're going to talk about. So get up and chat. Let me know where you're watching from. Say hello. It's always so much more fun when I can interact with you and answer your questions as well. So let's talk about those networking payoffs. How do you choose the best event with the best networking payoffs? Well, first up, wait a minute. I'm getting ahead of myself. If we haven't connected, I haven't even introduced myself. How rude. Step number one of an event, you should always introduce yourself if you get a chance. So if this is our first time, let me go ahead and do the unrude thing. I'm Laura Orlando, the Stress Commando, and I'm the founder and CEO of Down and Dirty Networking. We are a 100% relational online networking community. No 30-second commercial sales pitches allowed. It is about having meaningful conversations to build lasting and authentic relationships. And that's really what you want to focus on, is that relational networking when you're at an event. Most of the time, people know what they need to sell, because networking by default, or traditional networking, sometimes called transactional networking, is hi, my name is, buy my stuff. When in fact, the more effective approach is to really get to know somebody, make a deeper connection, and then build on that, depending on how the event goes, or so during the event, even post event. So we're going to talk a little bit about how do you choose the event with the best networking payoffs. And I'm going to go ahead and give you a little sneak peek. There's going to be part 2 next Wednesday. I'm going to talk to you about what do you do after the event. So all of these are going to help you network more stress free. So let's talk about choosing the right event. So first up, you have to decide not just what you need to sell, right? Because that's more traditional transactional networking. Relational networking is about building that meaningful conversation. But you can go a step further, especially if there's networking that's allowed where they actually want you to be a little bit more transactional in nature. You can be transactional with a networking, um, relational networking mindset. Ooh, I see someone from LinkedIn. Yeah, watching from close by. I'm glad. I think you're saying watching from close by. So I'm glad you're here, a LinkedIn user that I can't see who your name is. So glad you're here. I'll go back on the feed, and I'll be able to see who this is. So forgive me for not being able to see it here in the program that I'm using. So let's talk about how you choose the right networking focus and get the right events. Okay, so not just what you need to sell. Here's the key: not what you just need to sell, but what you need. So think about it. We all know, for those that are in sales, you know what you're trying to sell. You know how many you want to sell. You understand that. But go deeper. What's the thing that you need more of? Could you really use a better lead generation? I really want to learn AI so I can leverage AI for lead generation, for example. So what is the challenge that you're facing that you could really use? Maybe you need an introduction to a VA because all of the lead generation is too much for you to handle and you need some outbound calling. Or, hey, I'm struggling with what to do with outbound calling. Does anyone have ideas? Whatever the struggle is, have that at the ready. And so then when you're looking at events that you're trying to choose, so you already know what you need to sell, even if you're selling yourself. So if you're looking for a job, or if you're looking for different things that you want to ask for people, or maybe you are in sales and you're trying to, get more widgets sold, so to speak, or maybe you're doing more of an industry event, you're trying to get promoted. So you're doing something within your company, because I know sometimes companies can do a variety of different events. So how do you choose? If you have different employer groups at your company and each employer group is doing a different event, how do you choose which one's the best one for you? Do you just go to all of them? You could, but I wouldn't recommend that. It's kind of spreading yourself too thin. I would suggest you be a little bit more strategic and strategic by what you actually need. So if you need advice for lead generation, if you need advice that's more leaning towards sales and entrepreneur land, then you know to look at events where the attendees are experts in that field. So like if you're going to be in the room with other entrepreneurs and business owners, and it's a room that's really elevated in energy and elevated in a type of size of business that they're in, those would be the events you want to look at. And then ask in these events if there's any kind of networking involved. And most events will show their agendas. If there's networking there, you want to go ahead and jump in because you're going to be in the room with people that are actually going to be able to help you with the challenge that you've identified. Again, you're going to forego the whole buy my stuff type of mindset. Now, at the event that I was just at, this event was absolute fire. It was a little bit more transactional in nature. They wanted us to be able to exchange. However, everybody had a relational networking mindset. Everybody. It was fantastic. And so it was really easy to drop in and have a conversation. And here's why it makes it easy. When you have a relational networking mindset, and I think we talked about this last video with Catherine that I interviewed, it makes it, if you treat everybody like your best friend in the world that you have met, and even though you've just met them and you might not even introduce yourself to them, if you walk up and you just treat them like the best friend and you start talking to them as if you've known them for years, it's going to make them feel instantly comfortable because I guarantee you they're probably feeling a little awkward as well. You're going to feel a little less awkward and you can absolutely start to connect. And so that's the approach that I like to take is everyone's my best friend in this room. I'm going to treat them like a best friend. I'm going to talk to them like a best friend. And I'm going to ask them the question, hey, you know what? What's a challenge that you face? What's something that, you're looking to gain here? And maybe I can help you with. And it's so interesting when you ask a different question versus how are you? What do you do? You ask something a little bit deeper as your opening question, you're going to get different results. So back to choosing the event. So when you're looking at the events, again, you need to identify first what it is that you need. If, however, you're thinking, man, I really need to learn how to get promoted within the company that I work for. I just keep hitting a ceiling and I really need to get promoted. You're probably going to want to look for other industry events or events that are more like association based. And you're going to look for events within that have networking built in. Again, you want to be in the room with people that can help you overcome the challenge or give you the introduction you're looking for without it being transactional. If you focus on looking for an event that way, you are absolutely going to find the event that you need. And so being a part of the mastermind that I'm in, there was mastermind day this past weekend. My mentors were the ones that were actually hosting the 4-day event. And I knew what I was getting into. I needed more of the AI training because that's something that I do for my other business. And I wanted to know what was cutting edge. So I also wanted to see what I could do physically and cognitively. Is it something that I'm able to participate in as I go forward? You can hear from my voice. My body is going, maybe not just yet, but I did good. But anyway, my point though is I had a very clear purpose for why I was there. I had a very clear need of what I was looking for. And so I would have these really great, meaningful conversations with people. And I was able to not only have a meaningful conversation, but as we're talking, yes, because it was allowable and that was the direction that they had, the transaction unfolded. But it was more than the transaction. You can look and see people like, happy, hi, happy by my product day. And, you're my customer, but I'd rather have clients for life. And so it was a lot easier to be able to do different branding and solutions for everybody. So I just wanted to drop in and kind of give you this quick tip that I feel this could be really helpful because I think a lot of times people choose an event based on a topic, but they don't really recognize who's going to be in the room and what's the thing that I really need. And it's not in that order. It's what do you really need? Then figure out the room you need to be in. Then figure out who's going to be there. That's how you make sure you're in the rooms with the best networking payoff. And then make sure that the type of networker that you are, whatever your networking personality is, that you are actually aligned in the event that you're in, because not all events align. I was on an online event that was 100% transactional, nothing relational. That doesn't necessarily align with me. And so when I jumped into the room, I was like, oh, I this might not be what I expected. It was actually quite the energy drain for me because it wasn't aligned to what I specifically needed or wanted. So if you're just thinking I'm going to network, I'm going to throw enough mud against the wall, I'm going to get a bunch of exposure, I'm going to encourage you to not do that. Because you're going to expend a lot of energy. It's not going to be very effective. You sure as heck aren't going to have any fun, and it's going to be a chore. I would encourage you to be a little bit more thoughtful for yourself, a little bit more meaningful in the conversation you have with yourself, what it is that you need, what type of event you need to be there, and where is it aligned for you. And if you do those things, that's when you're in the rooms that you need to be in. And so this past weekend, the room was the room I needed to be in. And it was absolutely epic. So I'm was super grateful to be there, super grateful for everyone that poured into me despite some of the challenges I might have been facing. But I was totally just, even though my physical energy plummeted, my vibrational energy skyrocketed. And so if you want to be in a room where your vibrational energy skyrockets, it needs to be aligned to the thing that you need. So just don't, wing it and go in there. And I didn't have a plan to say. I'm not saying you should have a 30-second commercial, all of that planned for. I'm not saying any of that. When I'm talking about winging it is not really being selective where you're expending your networking energy. If you are not being selective of, hey, these are the right people in the room, I really need to get to know these people versus I really need to sell to these people, it's going to be a bit of a challenge. If you think, no, I really need to know these people, there's some great introductions. I can learn from them. I can expand. I can overcome a challenge I'm facing. That's going to be the right room for you. I see some other LinkedIn people. They're like, well, hello, happy Wednesday to the wonderful Laura. Oh, thanks for thinking I'm wonderful. I'm glad you're here. The LinkedIn person that is on there, thank you for watching. I can't see your name here because the platform's not allowing me to see it, but I will go back and I'll get into LinkedIn and make sure I find out who you are and say thank you properly. So thank you so much for watching in. So that's what I wanted to chat with you guys today is if you're watching and you're thinking about doing an online or an in-person event, be a little bit more strategic about how you choose the event so that you have the right networking payoff. And by doing that, align with the thing that it is that you need to overcome. What do you need to do, become, or have? Those are great questions to ask to determine which event you want to be in. Refuse as much as possible the need to say, I need more clients. I need to sell more rooms. That's going to be a bit of a challenge. You're possibly going to get disappointed. And what I guarantee you, even if you're not disappointed, you're going to burn out. That's a huge energy expend. It is a lot better to have clients for life. It's a lot better to have relationships for life so that you can keep going back and having deeper and meaningful relationships. So if you are going to be in more of a transactional space, I encourage you to really adopt a relational networking mindset. Or if you're more like what we do here in Down and Dirty Networking, where we're 100% relational, your energy spend is far less and your vibrational energy increase is significantly greater. And so that's what you really want. Your results are going to be better. You're going to be super happy with the way you're approaching the networking events. And you will never have to say, networking doesn't work for me. Because I've heard that for people. They're like, networking doesn't work. It doesn't work for me. What I propose is if you are saying that, or if you've ever said that, what that means is you might not be networking the most appropriate way. You might have been doing the mistake that I made early on. Hi, my name is, buy my stuff. You might be completely repelling everybody unknowingly. Well intended, but unknowingly. So I encourage you, learn from my mistake. Don't do that and approach it in a more relational networking mindset. Have some alignment to the thing that you really need to do, be, have, or become. And that way you could be asking for that. And when you're in the right rooms with the people that actually have the thing that you need, that's where you get all of the results, is where you get the increase in your vibrational energy and you end up making contacts and relationships for life. So that's how you make true connection. So I hope this was helpful. And it's Andrew. Andrew, thank you so much for watching. It's so good to see you, my friend. Thanks for being here. Okay, so hopefully this was helpful. If you have any other questions, or hey, even Andrew, chime in if you have any other tips or advice, post here in the comments. How do you choose your networking events and activities so that you get the biggest bang for your networking payoffs? And by networking payoff, I'm talking beyond the buy my stuff sales. Just a stack of business cards. Where can you have something that's a little bit more meaningful to where you feel like you really that was the best use of my time? So those are the kind of tips that I would encourage you to drop in the comments, whether you're watching live like Andrew is right now, or you're watching on replay, whatever platform you're on, whether you're on LinkedIn, Facebook, or YouTube, please go ahead and just chime in. Let's have a conversation about it. And then stay tuned because I go live every Wednesday afternoon, sometime between 3:30 and 5:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. And I'm going to do a part 2 of this. All right, so you've been to the event. Now, what do you do with the leads? Which is where I'm at right now, post event with a bunch of leads. What's the strategy? And so I will tell you a super simple strategy. So stay tuned. Part 2 will be next week between 3:30 and 5:30 Central Standard Time. So hopefully you got some helpful tips here. Hopefully I got you thinking a little bit differently about how you approach networking at events. And if you found some value, give me a thumbs up or tag a friend and say, hey, this could be a really good tip for you or someone that's going to be an event, or maybe you're already registered for an event. My advice, if you're registered for an event and maybe there's a Facebook group for the event, or maybe there's a way or a LinkedIn group or some pre event group where you can see who's already actually participating in the event, I would encourage you to tag them on this post and get an opportunity to be able to kind of pre network with them. The more visible you are, the more you're going to be known in the room, and it's going to actually lead to your networking payoff. So you might want to tag them and say, hey, you might want to check this out. We can use this when we see each other online, in person, at XYZ event. You fill in the blanks. All right. Again, hope that's helpful. Give me a thumbs up or share with a friend or tag your attendees that you want to connect with to give you the exposure you're looking for. All right. Thanks so much for chiming in. People are like, yeah, there's so much more opportunity for connection. Great tips. Thank you, LinkedIn user. Thank you, Andrew, for watching, and for you watching. For you watching on live on maybe one of the other platforms and you haven't commented, or maybe you're watching on replay. I deeply appreciate you. Okay, I want you to go knock everyone alive. And until we talk again next Wednesday, I want you to have happy networking. And don't forget, next Wednesday, did I say Wednesday or Tuesday? Don't forget, now through next Tuesday is going to be the last run of our World Online Networking Month. If you don't even know what I'm talking about, jump onto our LinkedIn or Facebook page. We've got posts that we've been doing all month long. Jump into them, answer the questions, comment between everybody else. This is a great way for you to gain extra exposure on LinkedIn and Facebook, expand your algorithm, connect with some like-minded professionals, and expand your network. And every question and every post now gets to be added in your toolbox as you connect with other people online and in the real world. So don't forget, World Online Networking Month is still continuing. All right. Happy networking. And until next week, I'll see you then. Bye for now.